evening, beloveds. Normally I say good morning, but it is good evening. So I'm doing this at 7 o'clock at night. Well, actually 7:20 at night. Because I went to I went to a doctor. And the doctor does both chiropractic and physical therapy and so basically sports medicine type thing. Because on Saturday I did something to my knee. What she told me today was that it was basically I sprained it, and she tortured me for an hour. It was great, but hopefully what it will do is put me on the road to recovery much quicker than just staying off of it. But that's part of the prescription, is to stay off of it. So the running reverend is grounded for right now. It happens to the best of us, right? So no running, no walking for at least a week. And I'm just like, but I do have exercises that I have to do. So when I get out of here, on to exercises. So I'm glad I have a foam roller already. I have a very good personal trainer who suggested a foam roller. I did not use it often enough. I will be better from now on. So, but it is October 13th, and my battery is dying on my Fitbit. Our title is I Am on the Pathway of Endless Unfoldment. I swear, I think he makes up words sometimes. A universal and infinite intelligence governs everything, holds everything in its place, and directs the course of everything. The intelligence that governs the planets in their courses is the same intelligence that is manifesting in me. The use I make of it to direct and govern my activities depends on my personal choice. Today, I am governed by the wisdom of God in everything I think, say, or do. Since there is nothing large or small in the infinite, there is nothing in my experience beyond its action. I affirm the presence of this wisdom, accepting and acknowledging its action in my every endeavor. I permit it to guide me in every circumstance. Today, I free myself from all past mistakes and know that I shall receive full compensation for every right thought. I now know how to plan my life and direct my path because God is doing this for me by doing it through me. There is no uncertainty or confusion. The divine spirit always knows what to do and how to do it. So I am never without guidance in the successful achievement of my good desires. My thought, act, and purpose is guided by this wisdom. I expect new and wonderful experiences to come to me. I live in complete confidence that I am on the pathway of endless unfoldment, walking in the light of infinite wisdom. All right, so let's start off with the fact that we are in the month of fulfillment, which makes me wonder what the last 2 months are going to be. Oh, well, November is gratitude, and December is light. Okay, so the month of fulfillment, that is why they are structured the way they are. This is what we have been working to up to this point, is fulfillment. We have been working on principle. We have been working on in the divine presence. We have been working on unifying with the divine presence. We have been working on freedom and joy and all of that. So now it's like, okay, what is it that you actually want? Well, most of us want fulfillment. But what does that look like? Have you thought about what fulfillment looks like? And so this is what fulfillment looks like to Ernest Holmes. A universal and infinite intelligence governs everything, holding everything in its place, and directs the course of everything. Okay, so we do get a little caught up in what God looks like, which I'm going to remind us us all that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and in our human experience we are limited in our concept of God. We have access to the whole universal mind, but we can't encompass the whole universal mind. So therefore we have this tendency to picture God as just kind of a larger version of us. And we have been taught that God is this great accountant in the sky, which can be a little scary when you hear the phrase governs everything, holds everything in its place, and directs the course of everything. Which is one of the reasons why I love the idea of the patterning intelligence. It is not a personality. It is a patterning intelligence that governs everything, holds everything in its place, and directs the course of everything. Meaning that there is a pattern. Now, what is the pattern? The pattern is life. The pattern is good. The pattern is love. So forget the great accountant in the sky and get on board with the patterning intelligence that the pattern is love. Please. Let me just tell you what to do. We don't tell you what to do. We just teach you how. The intelligence that governs the planets and their courses is the same intelligence that is manifesting in me. One of my most favorite sayings that I've heard is the mind that made a star is the same mind that made you, and the mind that made a star is the mind that you use. So there are no limits. There are no limits outside of we are mortal. And only the outside of us is mortal. The inside of us is not. So we are having a limited experience in an infinite experience. It'll just change someday. The use I make of it, and that is the capital I there, the use I make of it to direct and govern mine activities depends on my personal choice. So, all right. The universal intelligence governs everything, keeps everything in its place, but I have personal choice in the use that I make of it. So I can make good choices or I can make some questionable choices. Today, I am governed by the wisdom of God in everything I think, say, or do. So why not state as a fact that I'm governed by that wisdom? There's an infinite intelligence, there's an infinite wisdom. I would love to be governed by that if I'm going to make choices and make use of this unlimited power. I would, because I'm going to use it in a limited way. That is by nature of my mortal existence now. I'm going to make a limited use of it. So I would like to make the best use of it that I can. And then when I am in another form, perhaps a less limited form, I will make a greater use of it. It's one of those things to talk about being unlimited and limited at the same time. Being mortal is, So, since there is nothing small, large or small in the infinite, there is nothing in my experience beyond its action. And that's what I'm talking about. There are no limits outside of what you yourself place on them. So, it can do anything. What are you willing to ask for? Because we are naturally limited in these mortal forms. What are you willing to ask for? And if you say everything, what do you mean by everything? Because there's always going to be one of us that says, well, everything. I want everything. Do you really? You might get it. I affirm the presence of this wisdom, accepting and acknowledging its action in my every endeavor. So I'm affirming the presence of the wisdom that I see. I permit it to guide me in every circumstance. Today, I free myself from all past mistakes and know that I shall receive full compensation for every right thought. Okay, so principle is not bound by precedent, so I'm freeing myself from all past mistakes. And I know that I shall receive full compensation for every right thought. What does that mean? That means, right thought means what trends towards love, what trends towards good, what trends towards life. Right thought. It's not about things. It's about the way we go about doing things. And if we are going about doing things in a way that makes life better for everyone, big L, life better. If we are going about the greater good, if we are going about, so I can have anything I want, but to have that right thought, then that means that I can't be thinking about taking anything away from anybody else. So I can't say I want that, but you have to take it away from that person for me to have it. That's not right thought. Nor can I say I want this, but nobody else can have it. Right thought also means that what I want for myself, I want for everybody else. So that's why world peace is, I know, it's a thought. It's a right thought because when you say world peace, or I'm going to say universal peace, I want the whole universe to be at peace. That is a right thought because it's for everyone. You want everyone to be at peace. I know it's a cliche example, but, I went to school with the Queen of Peace. And she is one of the most peaceful people I know. And that's what her thought. She wants everyone to be at peace. Kathy Mastriani, I'm calling you out. Reverend Kathy, the Queen of Peace. Go visit the Science of Mind archives, please. Because she takes very good care of them. I now know how to plan my life and direct my path because God is doing this for me by doing it through me. Okay, so God can only do for you what he can do through you, and to do it through you, you have to be willing. So when you ask for everything, are you willing to do everything? Or are you willing to say, here, this is what I want, and this is what I'm willing to do to get it. That's why we have the saying, to treat and move our feet. I can have anything that I am willing to allow Spirit to do through me. Which means if I want world peace, where does world peace start? Right here. And right here. That's where world peace starts for me. I want it for everyone, so I start here. And that is the power of a practitioner. The one person that a practitioner always treats is themselves. Always. For whatever it is. There is no uncertainty or confusion. The Divine Spirit always knows what to do and how to do it. So I'm never without guidance in successful achievement of my good desires. So the Divine Spirit always knows what to do and how to do it. All we have to do is say, this is what I want. We never have to worry about how, because that's the Divine's job. That is not our job. We do not have to know the how. If we get too bogged down in the details of the how, then we do have a tendency to limit it by saying, oh, well, I want that. And I want exactly that. And I want it from that person. Does not. No. Divine Spirit knows the how. We just do what? I'm never without guidance in the successful achievement of my good desires. Meaning that when I set out, because this is what I want, then I have to be willing to listen to that guidance in whatever form it comes in. I just finished a kind of a retelling of it's a story. It's a fairy tale mashup, and so in this case, The guidance came from a rather silly looking humpback horse. But the characters were willing to listen. So divine guidance came in a really strange package, but they were willing to listen and they got their fairy tale ending. So we have to be willing to listen in no matter what form that divine guidance comes in, because it's going to come in all kinds of interesting forms. Sometimes you might be sitting, not even paying attention, mindlessly watching a movie, and there you hear it. You hear the divine guidance in the movie on a throwaway line that you've heard 100 times, or however many times you watched the movie, and this time it catches your attention and you're like, there it is. Watch for it. It'll show up in the most interesting places. It's one of the reasons why I love to read. My every thought, act, and purpose is guided by this wisdom. Power statement. You got something to do? My every thought, act, and purpose is guided by this wisdom. I expect new and wonderful experiences to come to me. Well, it is the month of fulfillment. Why would I not want new and wonderful experiences? I also love old and wonderful experiences. So I'm welcome and open to both. I live in complete confidence that I am on the pathway of endless unfoldment. Complete confidence that I am on the pathway to endless unfoldment. Walking in the light of the infinite wisdom. So what does the pathway of endless unfoldment mean? Unfoldment. The path of, because Ernest didn't necessarily believe in reincarnation. What he did believe in is that when we shed this mortal form, that we go on into another experience, whatever that experience is, because we don't know. We have no communication from the other side. We have no communication from the experiences, or at least if we do, they're cryptic. So, the path keeps going, and it is constantly unfolding before us into new and wondrous experiences if we're willing. And if we will listen to the divine intelligence and the divine guidance and recognize the patterns in our life. And when we see patterns that aren't necessarily divine and aren't necessarily healthy, then we know where to turn to say, hey, this pattern's not so good for me. Let me go back to my divine pattern. Help me find that path. And then that line in the movie, or that line in the book, or that line in the comic book, or that friend that walks into your life and just drops this line, will set you back on that path. And the universe will continue to unfold in front of you in new and amazing ways. All right. So I did tell you this morning when I gave you my, I'm going to be late, to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, and do something compassionate for yourself. I know that you did. And I know that you had a wonderful day. And tomorrow I will be back on schedule. It's called self-care. So make sure that you do it. If you need to stop doing something regularly scheduled that you've been doing for months to go and take care of yourself, please do. People will understand. All right. It probably hasn't cooled off enough to open the windows because my AC just kicked on. But I hope that you did take the time to open your windows, get some fresh air, do something to engage your mind and your body. And tonight, when you lay down and close your eyes, as you close the windows to this world, this noisy, messy, amazingly wonderful, juicy, crazy world, open the windows of your soul and step right into the kingdom of heaven that you live in all of the time. And see it for what it is in the way that only your dreams can show you. Until All right. And then you can work on bringing those dreams into reality. Thank you, beloveds. I know that you had a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go do my prescribed exercises and elevate my knee. I will be ricing my knee for the rest of the week. I'm adopting that, by the way. Rice is rest, ice, compression, and elevate. Or, rest is very important. Interest is very important. Compassion is very important. And I'm all about elevating those thoughts. All right, beloveds. I will see you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bye.